It's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Folks, it's mighty cold up here in the Great White North, so I decided to wear the super duper toque. Okay, let's be serious here. That looks ridiculous and everybody knows it. But not as ridiculous as that drywall. Folks, I know you love it. Let's keep it in the shot. Folks, welcome. After a 1-week delay, we have the official start of whatever the hell this is. Let me get my car keys out of the way. Folks, it is upon us. I am upon you. This is episode 1 of Colin from Canada's Good Junk. I will explain the title momentarily. Bit of product placement right in the door. We need my Diet Coke. Let's crack that. That's right. Welcome, everybody. Finally, we're getting this going. Drywall, you're goddamn right. Yes, Good Junk. So I've decided to call the show Colin from Canada's Good Junk, and I will explain why. When I was a youth, 10 or 11, going into my late 20s, early 30s, I would meticulously record things on VHS tapes, much like I'm sure all of you did as well. I would catalog them, label them, this episode, that episode, Growing Pains, Leave It to Beaver, A-Team, you know the drill, up to 300-400 tapes. Hi, Colin from Canada, I want to see more. Okay, the comments are pouring in while I'm filming, holy cow. Anywho, so it's called Colin from Canada's Good Junk because I used to record stuff, and I'm getting way ahead of myself here because I got interrupted by that great comment from these millions and millions of fans. Actually, it's 45 to be exact, but that's growing, people. Circle back, Colin. Good Junk. I would label the VHS tapes. I didn't know what to call them, so I would just label them Good Junk Volume 1, Good Junk Volume 2. So why not name the show here for you guys Good Junk? Because I will be talking and talking and talking and showing you good junk. I call stuff junk, I call stuff crap, but it's not really junk or crap, it's awesome stuff. It's just, for comedic purposes, we're gonna call it, everybody, I forgot to turn off notifications. Oh God, okay, well, we're keeping this in because it gives the channel flavor. I have selected, I got my notes, so everything's gonna be good here. Everything that I promised you we're gonna get to in this episode, including the David Schwimmer audio. We're gonna do that at the end because I know you guys are waiting for it. But let us begin with the deep cut. The very first deep cut we're gonna take a look at. And I'm hoping later on when I am editing this, I can add photographs because as you know, one of the things we're gonna be taking a look at here is photos from my camera roll. So if I am talking about the photos from my camera roll and they are not on the screen, that segment is gonna be a doozy. But let's get started with the deep cut. The deep cut movie, the very first one for the very first episode, is a movie that quite possibly changed my life. And when I say this title, if you guys know it, you know it. But if you don't, you're gonna wanna take a look. It is called It Came from Hollywood. It came out in 1982 from Paramount Pictures, and it was a pseudo, not documentary, but it had Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Cheech and Chong, and John Candy. And they would introduce clips of horribly bad B movies. They would take on a character, do a quick sketch, introducing a certain genre of bad movies, and then you would see clips of these bad movies. So I have listed everything that they have introduced, so it kind of gives you an idea of what you're gonna be seeing. To begin, Gilda Radner introduces guerrilla movies. Dan Aykroyd introduces the Alien movies. Cheech and Chong cover giants, larger men sci-fi movies. John Candy does a salute to Ed Wood. For those who don't know who Ed Wood is, he created Plan 9 from Outer Space, Glen or Glenda, a few others. Johnny Depp portrayed him in a great movie. Pull the strings! That's a great quote from that movie. So now we're back to Gilda Radner again doing musical memories. These are really horrific musicals. John Candy does coming attractions. You get these trailers for these awesome movies. Dan Aykroyd comes back and does Troubled Teenagers. These are the 1950s, bad high school, you know what I'm talking about. Cheech and Chong delve into the Animal Kingdom Goes Berserk. Large animals take over the town, those type of movies. And these are tons of clips. Probably a few hundred movies are covered in this movie. And at the end, there's a list of all the movies in the movie if you want to check them out. For fans of crappy movies, this is the holy grail of a movie about bad movies. Continuing, John Candy, Technical Triumphs. I can't for the life of me think of what that was about. I should, because I've seen this movie a million times. Dan Aykroyd, The Brain, all crazy movies about flying brains and putting this brain in that body. Cheech and Chong, surprisingly enough, cover getting high in the movies. These are Reefer Madness, the 1950s scare movies about marijuana and all that stuff. And then finally, we're back to Gilda Radner finishes it off with monster movies. And you will be pleased to know that I have found this very movie on YouTube, and I have put this is what they do. I put the link in the description here, guys. So feel free to view it. You will enjoy it if you enjoy bad movies, and also if you love Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Cheech and Chong, and of course John Candy's a legend. And I can almost say for certain you've never seen this John Candy movie. So please, after you watch this, and you've already watched Jason over at the New 80s Revolution, shout out. Got to shout him out every time. Take a look at this in the description. It is called It Came From Hollywood, 1982, Paramount Pictures. Funny enough, in 2002, there's not much on this movie on the internet to give you fun facts, but it almost came out on DVD in 2002. But due to, I guess, copyrights for all the movies, when you release it, you got to pay everybody involved. The reason why you can't do that on television was never on DVD. You would have to pay every kid that's ever been on the show. So, anyways, but you can find it on YouTube, and I got a pristine copy on a disc. But anyways, not to toot my own horn. It's on YouTube. The link's in the description. So please take a gander. Okay, we're back. It's time to go through the camera roll. This is either going to be hysterically funny, boring as hell, or you can't see the photos. I'm hoping for hysterical. I have several jillion photos of hilarity, but we're gonna do 5 at a time because 1, I don't want to run out of photos, and 2, if this is boring, I don't want to bore you. But I know it's funny. So if I know it's funny, I'm sorry, it's funny. Photo number 1 you see here is a monstrosity of a art playground piece of equipment. This item stood outside the first McDonald's in the city I live in. And my dad would take me and my brother, sometimes one of my buddies from my street, to McDonald's every Sunday for lunch. And this was the borderline dangerous play set that kids would climb on. I don't know if you can kind of see the height of this thing. It's absolutely nuts. But the reason you're looking at this is my father took my friend Patrick and I to McDonald's one Sunday. And as we were climbing on this monument unsupervised, he was in line waiting to order lunch. And if you look at the right side with the kid in the dark blue snowsuit, he is stepping on the red circle. I got my leg wedged in that red circle. And the Pat, my friend, ran in to get my father to come and help me because my leg was stuck in this monument. And my dad said, I don't want to lose my place in line. Okay. Photo number 2, in my plaza here that I work at, we have a Chinese food restaurant in the front. And this is them letting everyone know that their ATM is out of service. Please look closely. Number 3 is yours truly. Let's take a tight shot of this, please. This is a 12-year-old Colin, sweating profusely. I am in grade 6, or as you guys in the States say, 6th grade. Let's take a look at the stud in the ear. Can we get a shot of that earring? Let's look close and let's see that sweat. Yeah. Thought you would enjoy that. Picture number 4 is a actual text conversation between me and some moron. We run poker tournaments here. For those who don't know poker, you can do a tournament or you can do a cash game. Most people want a cash game. Cash game, you run into problems. Both of these are illegal, but we do the tournament. We used to do a cash game, and this is a typical dialogue between me and a customer of mine. Hey, is there a cash game tonight? Yes. Okay, I am coming. I can't wait. Hey, is there a cash game tonight? There's no more words needed for that, my friends. Okay. I realize that the camera angle is perhaps changing between each segment, but when you stop and start as many times as I do, and as you've seen in the bloopers, that's a lot, the camera angle changes, but we're gonna press on. Folks, it's time for thrift store pickups. These are thrift store items that I have picked up in the last 1 or 2 weeks. Let's begin. Always needed for me is the blank DVDs. This is a spindle of 100 blank DVDs for $5. Good find. There is a book titled Shit My Dad Says. This is the sequel, I Suck at Girls. There's that. This is a nifty gifty for Jason. This is going to be sent to him. This is a 3 HDMI to 1 HDMI, so he can hook up both Blu-ray players in the cave and the emulator. Again, genius. Bad beard, but genius. So Jason, that's heading over to you in the small package that I promised. Again, it wasn't a big week, but Shadow of Mordor. This is for the girlfriend. She has an Xbox One. That was $3. Okay. Next up. Are you guys a fan of Heathcliff? Do you remember Heathcliff? Of course you do. This is a 5-book box set of Heathcliff. And let's go through them together. Heathcliff Pigs Out, followed by Heathcliff First Prize. Heathcliff Gone Fishin'. Heathcliff Dines Out. And then lastly, Heathcliff Round 3. And these all go in a lovely box here. And this cost me $2. And for the life of me, I can't close the box. And I am going to continue recording. I'm not going to stop until this box is perfectly. We got it. Okay. Finally, we have a couple of CDs. These are some of the things I collect, as you've gathered here. I do the books, I do the CDs, I do the wrestling magazines. You're not going to find those at thrift stores. The movies, the Blu-rays, the board games. I'm probably forgetting stuff, but those are the things I tend to cover. CDs. Friday, original soundtrack. These were $1, maximum $2 each. Jane's Addiction, first album. I won't even try to pronounce the title, Ritual de la Habitual. Not nailing that. The Essential, Sam and Dave. This is going to be a Canadian cut. Rascals, fairly popular hip-hop group from the late 90s. Rascals. That's it for the thrift store. Usually there's a lot more, but I don't know if it was not going very much this week or trying to get this video done and I wasn't gallivanting to the thrift stores, but this will be bigger come the next video, hopefully. But that was this week's thrift store hauls. Moving on to the show and tell portion of Good Junk episode 1. This item down here I purchased at a thrift store perhaps 1 year ago, 2 years ago. And when I saw it, I immediately put it on. It's a article of clothing. I'm not big on the clothing. I used to be all about the t-shirts. I have, not exaggerating, probably 200 to 300, 400 t-shirts. How many of them fit me after the COVID weight gain? That's another story. But as you can see, I'm wearing a shirt you've already seen me in Jason's video. Like, I don't have a vast amount of larger shirts because I've gained some weight. But I'm getting off topic, folks. Come back to me, Colin. This was purchased 1 to 2 years ago. My girlfriend absolutely hates it. And the day I bought it, it was at the first thrift store that we encountered. So for the rest of the day, I mentioned this and continued to mention it until my girlfriend wanted to throw this item away, but I would not let her because it is quite possibly, and I have purchased so many items from thrift stores, but this is top 5. This is top 5. And again, if you knew how much I've bought from thrift stores, folks, without further ado, I have to remove this because to get the full effect of Delta Force Pizza. I'm almost certain this is an actual pizza place, but can we get a shot of just full camo Delta Force Pizza? So you know that after I purchased this in the early moments of the day when there were still more thrift stores to go to, that this was on my hat. This was on my hat. This was on my head for the rest of the day, and my girlfriend loved it. Did I say Delta Force Pizza 800 times that day? Probably 900. But goddamn if this is not exquisite, people. Okay? Delta Force Pizza. If you like Delta Force Pizza, you are looking at the right channel, because these are the types of items that will be brought to you during the show and tell portion of Colin from Canada's Good Junk. So that's it. That's Delta Force. I can't remember what I paid for it. Probably $2. But brand new, hasn't been worn. I dare not curve the brim. I dare not curve the brim. Okay? So that's this week's show and tell. I already know what I'm showing you next week. It's on par with this hat. But again, I started so strong. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I started so strong with Delta Force Pizza. It can only go down from here, but I'm hoping I can stay at the premier level of Delta Force Pizza. I'm gonna stop saying Delta Force Pizza now. It's a Chuck Norris movie and a pizza restaurant put together. Are you kidding me? What were the thoughts? What were the thoughts? Guys, let's open a pizza place. And this hat isn't old. It's relatively new. I wish I could, there's no year on the thing, but like, it's like, okay, let's take a Chuck Norris movie series and that's gonna be the name of our pizza shop. Okay, that's like American Ninja Tacos. I don't know. That's what makes it hilarious. So that's Delta Force Pizza. We're winding down the episode. I was going to keep on the Delta Force Pizza hat, but I felt if I kept it on, it would take you to a place and you wouldn't hear me anymore. You would be staring at the hat, and I would just be. So you need to hear what I'm saying. So I can't keep the hat on. It would take away. So again, we're winding it down here. I hope you've enjoyed whatever this is that I've just put upon you. But there's still one thing left, folks. I know you know. It's the David Schwimmer audio. Okay, again, my father is a senior. He has hearing aids, as most seniors do. And a bit off topic, there's nothing better than when my dad has his hearing aids and they are clogged. be it earwax or debris on the microphone. My mother loves it. My mother loves turning the TV volume up to 800. I love coming into the house and the volume's on 800 and they're saying stuff to me and I have no idea what they're saying. But in a recent visit to my dad's hearing aid guy, we got all that taken care of. The brush was taken out and it was cleaned and this was replaced. And now my dad's hearing is almost back to normal, to the point where the TV volume, I can't hear it, but he can. So what does that say about me? Okay, my dad's hearing aid guy sounds exactly like David Schwimmer. And I have what you would probably say secretly recorded him. So if I have done this correctly, I am about to throw to the David Schwimmer audio. So I am hoping this works. In this clip, you will hear my father, the legend, John Riddell. You know the man. How much is the butter? But listen to, forget about him. Listen to the other guy. That's your David Schwimmer, man. And if this is not an identical match to David Schwimmer's voice, I don't know what is. And that about sums it up. So we're going to cut to the David Schwimmer, and then I'll come back and do my final goodbyes and perhaps a final thought a la Jerry Springer. So let's go to David Schwimmer.
Try and take the wax out of the hole.
Oh yeah. So don't use soapy water because the hearing aid is in, right? Unless you take out the wire, then use soapy water. What I'm going to give you is a disinfectant spray. So you can spray it on a piece of paper towel and then you can wipe around here. Because this is going to change color really fast.
All right, everybody. Final thoughts, wrap-ups here as we end the very first episode of Colin from Canada's Good Junk. I'm going over my checklist of things promised to you. We did the deep cut. We went through 5 pictures on the camera roll. We did the one item for show and tell, the hat. Thrift store pickups we covered. David Schwimmer, God, I hope that worked, but am I right? Again, advice or questions, it's still early in the channel, but the email is colinfromcanada1, the number 1, at gmail.com. Shoot me an email, ask me anything, advice, questions. Why do you continue to grow the beard, Colin? Anything. I will answer anything. If you want your name mentioned on the channel, I will. If you don't, I won't. But again, not a lot of subscribers, but again, Colin from Canada, number 1 at gmail.com if you want to send me a thing. The only thing I didn't cover was the clip of the week video, or, well, technically I did because David Schwimmer was an audio clip, but I was maybe going to keep the short video clips for the shorties because I like throwing weird, odd stuff in the shorties. We'll see how it goes, depending on how many crazy little videos I can find. I might add it to the show and put one in the shorties. But I'd like to thank you for tuning in, again, to whatever the hell this is. This is the first episode, so hopefully, much like Seinfeld and 21 Jump Street, and really most shows, season 1, it's a slow build, but as we go, and I ramble and get louder, hopefully you're laughing, and you continue watching. So I loathe doing this, but subscribe and hit the like button, whatever that does. Again, I don't know. And remember, the pepperettes are a firm $12, no haggling. We'll see you next time.